welcome to this very special ceremony to honor Specialist August McDonough. This is a very unique ceremony. The last time we had one was 2018, so it's not very common, and it means a lot. It is this is our purpose here at VFW Post 764, is to make sure that veterans are taken care of, pay proper respect when proper respect is due. And today we will honor Gus McDonough with our highest level of respect by inducting him onto our Wall of Valor. There are previously, prior to today, only 31 plaques hanging on this wall. And to give you some idea, we've had over 1,400 veteran members pass through the front doors of this post. And today we'll mark 32 that are on the wall behind me. I'd like to thank all of the family, friends, the auxiliary, everyone who helped put this event together. It holds a special place with us. And so if you will all rise, we will post the colors.
Ready? March. Honor guard, halt. Right face. Present the colors. Present arms. 2. Honor guard, right face. Follow.
We'll now have the invocation by Post Chaplain Nick DeMicheli.
Let us bow our heads. O eternal God, who art a shield to all who put their trust in thee, bless us, thy servants in the armed forces in which we serve. Lead us and guide us by thy good spirit, strengthen and defend us by thy might, that we may be to our land a sure defense against every enemy. Support us in that day of battle, and in the time of peace keep us safe from all evil. Endow us with courage and loyalty, and grant that in all things we may serve thee and our country without reproach. Let the light of thy countenance, O God, shine upon our comrades departed, that they may go on from strength to strengthen in thy heavenly kingdom. Strengthen us also in our resolve to keep faith with all patriots and comrades in arms, by fearlessly maintaining our liberty so nobly won. We ask this in the name of your most holy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Now I'd like to lead everybody in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll now have Bob Donan with our POW MIA recognition and our Wall of Valor induction.
Thank you, Brian. POW MIA recognition. There's a small plaque in front of the POW MIA table to your left, or right, explaining the meaning of the various parts of that special place setting. I'd like to take this time to recognize Paul Urquhart of Peters Township, who graduated from W.J. College in 1966. Paul had just returned to Vietnam on the second tour when his helicopter was shot down Memorial Day 1971 with an RPG. Paul is listed as MIA, or missing in action, body not recovered. The plaque above the table tells the rest of his story. and that of his gunner, Stephen Shavira, on that tragic day in May. A high school student's effort, Brian Hoddle, here in the township, succeeded in honoring both Paul and lifelong Peters Township resident Tom Scheit of Bebout Road, who was also killed in Vietnam and awarded the Silver Star posthumously. Paul Urquhart's father was extremely pleased to see his son finally get some recognition. And Paul is the exact reason Peters Township and W.J. College began flying the POWMIA flag on a daily basis. We've also honored Paul here at VFW 764 on the Wall of Valor. You will also notice a sign honoring Paul above the other two street signs at the intersection of Oakwood and Old Oak Roads, not far from where Paul lived. Compliments of VBA Chapter 862 from Beaver County. Years ago, our VFW Post 764 voted to dedicate National POWMIA Recognition Day in September to Paul Urquhart every year. Just like our honoree today, Paul was with the 101st Airborne Screaming Eagles, and his area of aerial operations was in the northernmost part of the infamous Shaw Valley. So for our Wall of Valor induction ceremony, I'd like to thank former Wall of Valor committee members Jim Moran, Dan O'Neill, Joe Malley, who are no longer with us. Thanks to the officers and membership of VFW 764 for hosting this event. Thanks to Ladies Auxiliary, Gary MacArthur, and all who helped arrange the meal and preparations for this. Thanks to the Peters Township High School volunteers who are videoing this event for Channel 7. And welcome to past inductee Jim Pahala, who's sitting at the end of the head table here, and honored guests. The Vietnam War was a different place for different people. A great deal depended on when you served, where you served, and what type of unit you were in. And for those of us in the Army, what military occupational specialty, or MOS, you were trained for. Where you served. The Vietnam War zone was split into 4 military regions, zones or corps, numbered with Roman numerals. I Corps was the furthest north, just south of North Vietnam, and directly below the DMZ, or Demilitarized Zone. Cities included Da Nang and the ancient Vietnamese capital of Hue. 2 Corps included the Central Highlands with the tri-border region to the west, with Laos to the north and Cambodia to the south. Cities included Pleiku, Quy Nhon, Nha Trang, and Cam Ranh Bay. Laos and Cambodia were used for a network of infiltration routes by the enemy, collectively known as the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and used extensively for transporting war supplies, equipment, and enemy troops. Further south in the Republic of Vietnam, you had 3 Corps and 4 Corps with familiar names like Saigon, Vung Tau, Cu Chi, and the Mekong Delta. When you served, the so-called popularity of the war hinged on the Tet Offensive in early 1968. During a nationwide counteroffensive by the enemy during the Lunar New Year, many lives were lost on both sides, and it became a turning point in a war that was never officially declared. In a war that was never officially declared. 1968 was also the year the most men were drafted through the selective service system. 296,000 from a total of 1.7 million troops who served in Vietnam. U.S. troop strength was highest in 1968, numbering 536,000 troops. Then you got to the type of unit. In the Army, you had the combat arms of armor, artillery, and infantry. Beyond those were aviation engineers, medical, finance, mess, motor pool, supply, and others. As far as the military occupational specialty, men began basic combat training, or basic in the Army, as infantrymen. When you went to the mess hall for meals, first you had to cross the parallel bars. Then you split into two lines, US and RAs in one line, NG and ER in the other. Draftees were US and enlisted were RAs. NG stood for National Guard, ER was enlisted reserves. After basic, a soldier's advanced individual training, or AIT schooling, usually determined his final duty assignment. An Army soldier's MOS began with a 2-digit number, then a letter, followed by another 2-digit number that indicated level or rank. Examples would be an infantryman with 11, B as in Bravo, 20, or what we called 11 Bush, or perhaps 13 Alpha 20 for an artilleryman, also known as a gun bunny or a red leg. The man we came here to honor today, Gus McDonough, was an infantryman, or 11 Bush, who served in I Corps, the military region or combat tactical zone furthest north, just below the DMZ, that bordered Laos, and where troops and supplies first arrived in South Vietnam from the Ho Chi Minh Trail, I should say enemy supplies. Unlike the guerrilla fighters known as the Viet Minh or Viet Cong, often abbreviated as VC or Charlie, the enemy Gus and his comrades faced more often were the well-trained and equipped NVA or North Vietnamese Army. Gus's unit was the 101st Airborne, known as the Screaming Eagles, due to their shoulder patch. Currahee was his specific regiment, which is the Native American word meaning stands alone. Gus was there late in the war, 1970, 2 years after Tet, during some of the final, fiercest fighting of the war around familiar areas with names like Way, Hamburger Hill, and the Ashaw Valley. Gus's unit was air mobile, meaning they often traveled by helicopter on the now famous Huey, with its unmistakable sound, the sound that will take any Vietnam veteran right back to the war zone in a heartbeat. Gus tells me he spent most of his time in the jungle, one time for 3 months straight, during his 11.5-month tour of duty. He was on a 6-man team that did some of the early scouting for Operation Texas Star, a joint operation with South Vietnamese troops who were being trained by the U.S. to eventually take over the war. This was known as Vietnamization, with the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, or ARVN, which was often spoken as ARVN. Gus and his fellow Currahees were often outnumbered by a hardened, well-seasoned, and determined foe, known for their devastating use of RPGs, or rocket-propelled grenades, and satchel charges, bombs that could be thrown from a close range. The enemy had become famous for the way they could hug the perimeter of a defensive position or fire base to avoid being killed by danger-close artillery rounds or close air support by jet fighters or gunships. Gus tells me the NBA preferred to attack at night, but this particular action on July 6, 1970, happened at dawn, right after morning light. One of his comrades was out setting up claymore mines on their defensive perimeter when he was rushed by advancing enemy troops. Their goal was to overrun the Currahee's defensive position. The GI came running past Gus in quick retreat, and at the same time, Gus noticed their defensive machine gun position was unmanned. Yikes. Fortunately, Gus had taken note of a 12-inch diameter tree the day prior, and just as he moved to shield himself behind the tree, he heard a metallic click, which he suspects was a Chi-Com grenade. The grenade exploded, breaking his jaw and collarbone. First thing he did was take an inventory of his bloodied hands, legs, and feet, because as he puts it, I had seen a lot of amputations. Gus went on to say that if it had been a more powerful U.S. grenade, he would have been killed on the spot, tree or no tree. This time I'd like to invite Gus to come forward so I can read the narrative portion of his Silver Star Award, which tells the rest of this story. Specialist McDonough distinguished himself while serving as a rifleman in Company B, 1st Battalion Air Mobile, 506 Infantry, defending a 9th defensive perimeter near Fire Support Base, Maureen, Republic of Vietnam. When the enemy launched a determined offensive, several friendly positions around the perimeter were neutralized. Specialist McDonough, despite intense hostile fire, maneuvered to administer emergency medical treatment to his wounded comrades. He simultaneously engaged the enemy with suppressive fire and dragged the wounded to safety. Then, moving to a weakened section of the perimeter, he effectively engaged an aggressor who was assaulting the command post. Though painfully wounded, Specialist McDonough continued his effective suppressive fire until the enemy force had been repelled. Specialist McDonough's personal bravery and devotion to duty were in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army. He was also awarded the Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Air Medal, and Army Commendation Medal.
Jotted a few notes down, but you know, I told you the Wall of Valor is very unique, and you know, the actual Silver Star citation that Bob just read is the reason he's on this wall. His bravery and devotion to duty. That's the reason Gus is here. I hope we all remember everyone who has fallen in that war, in every war. I'd like to thank you all for being here and let you know that, again, this award is special. There's only 3 medals that will get you on the Wall of Valor. It's the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Cross, and the Silver Star. And just a bit of trivia, they're very hard to earn. You must go above and beyond. Obviously, Gus, you went above and beyond. And if you achieve any of these 3 medals, small bit of trivia, you may only receive 1. You can get subsequent awards, and you'll get an Oak Leaf on your medal, but you will only get 1. So I'd like to thank you again for being here. Gus, know that we will always be grateful for your extraordinary service to our country. Thank you. Now we'll have the benediction by Chaplain Nick Davidshaw.
Once again, let us bow our heads. May the Lord our God bless us, all present here, to memorialize those who lived and died to preserve liberty and freedom in our nation and in the world. And may the Lord our God remember all those whose sacrifice gave this nation its greatness, progress, and riches. May our memory and all of those who served in the armed forces be an honorable one, full of thanksgiving to the Lord. And remember, with much love and mercy, those who died in the service of our country, whether on the air, on the land, or at sea. Be with us all, and provide us with traveling mercy as we return to our homes later. We ask in the holy name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
One more important thing here. I forgot to unveil his plaque here on the wall. There it is.
And I will remove the podium so you guys can all get pictures here. So, honor guard, gentlemen, if you would, retire the colors.
Honor guard, retire the colors. Right face. Forward march.
All right, now the announcement you've all been waiting for. It's time to eat and enjoy some refreshments.